Now let me move on to how I think this incident will affect China. I do actually think that what the USA have done here will actually be of benefit to China. So let me explain. So first of all, China also have a gas pipeline that connects them to Russia. It's called Power of Siberia. This pipeline was completed in 2019 and has the capacity to transport 38 billion cubic meters of gas per year. And a second pipeline called Power of Siberia 2 with a capacity of 50 billion cubic meters is expected to go into operation in 2030. And at that time, it will make China the single largest customer of Russian gas. So this is a win for China because it will cement China's gas security for many years into the future. And it will be a win for Russia because it will replace some of the gas that Russia used to sell to Europe. Also, as China will sign long-term contracts for this gas, they will lock themselves into competitive gas supplies for many years into the future, which is important for their industry and manufacturing. And manufacturing, this brings me on to the next major benefit for China. Industries in the UK and Europe for many years have been able to take advantage of competitively priced Russian gas, and in turn this has meant that the industries in the UK and Europe have also been competitive. However, this has now ended, and yes, it is possible for the UK and Europe to replace the gas that they were buying from Russia, but the point is they're going to be paying 3, 4, 5 times more for that gas. Interestingly, the two countries that allegedly committed the sabotage on the Nord Stream pipelines, the USA and Norway, are two countries who have possibly the most to gain from Russia not being able to supply gas to the European Union. Both of these countries now supplying more gas to Europe, and in the case of the USA, its shipments of liquefied natural gas to Europe have more than doubled, and Norway have increased their gas shipments to Europe by more than 8%, but have actually reached their production capacity, and next year will actually increase their capacity so they can supply even more. A number of European countries, including the UK, France, Italy and Germany, have been subsidising energy to both consumers and industry. However, they're unable to continue this indefinitely. A recent article in the Financial Times explains how in April the government subsidies in England will change, they will be lowered, and this will result in an increase of 70 to 80% in energy costs for some businesses, and this will be just too great for some of those businesses to bear, and they may go out of business. Already a number of energy intensive industries across Europe have either scaled back production or stopped production altogether, citing that they just cannot be competitive with such high energy costs. And as production of energy intensive goods has dropped, then the imports of those goods have risen, and this is where it benefits China, because China, being one of the largest manufacturing countries in the world, are probably in a position to supply a lot of those goods due to the cost base of China's energy being significantly lower than that of Europe. And I think this will be a substantial benefit going forward for China, because unless Europe are able to start buying cheap energy again from Russia, their cost base for energy will remain high for many years into the future, and it will mean that Europe will more than likely have to import more goods from China because it's not cost effective to manufacture them themselves. And actually China's exports to Europe continue to grow year on year. Now there may be a bit of a dip over the next couple of years due to lack of demand because of possible stagflation in Europe, but I think on an ongoing basis you will see those imports from China to Europe continue to increase. You will also see more and more European companies investing more in China or moving their manufacturing there. We've already seen this with the BMW moving the electric Mini production from the UK to China, and the large chemical company BASF, which is one of the largest chemical companies in the world, they have announced that they will scale back their investments in Europe and they will increase their investments in Asia. And this again is because of the high energy costs in Europe. Okay, so I hope that has given you some insight into the Nord Stream incident and demonstrated how I think this will actually benefit China. So now in conclusion, I'd just like to share some of my thoughts and comments with you. I think if it is indeed America who committed this act of sabotage, and it's certainly looking like it was the USA, I think they have lost any credibility they had remaining after the first incident where they seized Russian sovereign foreign reserves in American banks. There must be many countries around the world now reviewing their relationship with the USA and also thinking very carefully about their foreign reserve holdings, whether they want to hold that in dollars or diversify that into some other currencies. And I think the USA have demonstrated how far they're willing to go to retain their hegemony. What they've effectively done is sabotage the economy of one of their so-called allies just so they can achieve their own political and hegemonic objectives. And if this is what they can do to their supposed allies, the future is very, very worrying as America lose more and more control over world events. If you did like that video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you do like the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. But as always, for now, take care.